Welcome back, everyone, to The Chatter Platter, a show where I, along with guests, talk about random events in our lives to the point where you may question what's wrong with us. I'm your host, Karel Raful, along with Zachary, continuing off with the menu of Undertale, and this time, the plate will be finished. So, without further ado, let's dig in.
And so after that, we go into Hotlands, and I think it's the same, right? We meet Alphys and Mettaton. But in Hotlands, we find the one weapon that carried us in our final fight. A frying pan. Okay, and so the frying pan is very special. It'll give you like plus 4 HP for every healing item you use, which is going to be very helpful later. And so after that, I think we meet Mettaton again in the cooking show.
Yeah.
We go through all his antics, and then we go and face Mettaton. Oh, yeah, I did also do the brutal route for Muffet.
Good riddance. Oh my
riddance.
gosh. Thinking about her makes me angry. Anyways, no, I'm a good person, guys. I'm a good person.
Yeah, partner, sure. Anyways, and so we go into Mettaton, and Mettaton goes into his final phase, and he's just like, oh yeah. And I'm so disappointed because it looks so cool. Everything is roaring, the crowd,
Yeah.
the television, his armor, and we swing our sword, and poof, one-shotted.
One shot, yeah.
Very disappointing. He gets one-shotted. I think at that point, character was done playing around.
Yeah.
Anyways. And so, after all of our actions, we go down to Judgment Hall.
No.
And we meet a familiar skeleton smiling.
The funny guy.
The silly man. And so we take our steps. We walk in and encounter him. And he's like, hey, I'm here to judge you. And your hands look pretty dusty. And so we get into a fight. And in most encounters, you get the first action. But in Sans, he does. And so his first attack, we're dead. Dead.
Like the first second, we're dead.
Yeah. And what's unique about Sans, besides really Asgore, is that he directly mentions your resets. So after he kills you, he's just like, hey, yeah, this looks like your second time now.
Oh
And
my gosh.
after like the first like 10 or 20 times he kills you, he's just like, you're gonna have to keep count now. I'm done counting.
I would get so frustrated.
I'm just like, you son of
If you guys can't already tell, this is the fight where we were stressing and getting angry about
my
this
God.
fight the most.
for like at least a month.
Literally, I kind of felt bad for all our classmates because literally most of our classes were just playing that one fight over and over again.
Bro, there were so many times where I died and I was so... I just remembered. I got onto the final attack and died like twice. And both of those times, I died inside and like made like the most like... And then this girl looked at me like I was actually insane.
Yeah.
She like turned around and she was like, what
And like she
the
gave me like a
heck?
look too.
I know, and I'm just like... It was awful. Oh my God, the
Oh
rage.
my god.
Oh, like there were so many class peers. I swear to God, my teacher heard me say I want to kill myself at least like every day. I'm just like, I hate this game so much.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it took a really, really long time.
A very long
Yeah.
time.
But the dialogue is really cool for Sans because he talks about how his life is, how his point of view is from our resets. Because he remembers every reset. And so
He
he was
does.
talking about, do you know how hard it is to live your life every day knowing that it's just going to be reset over and over and over without any warning? It's such a good boss, but I hate it.
We
Oh
hated
my
it a lot.
God. It sucked. It was awful. It was awful. Worst boss in the game. I hate him.
Worst, but also best boss in the game. Yes. And let me tell you, all the items we had,
Oh my
oh,
god.
that frying pan carried. And there's 3 like ultimate foods in the game, right? There's the steak, pie, and there's the noodles. But the thing is, we didn't have the noodles because there was a fight where Zachary accidentally used the noodles.
Popped the noodles.
And that just made it so much harder.
And we didn't have snowman pieces either.
Yeah, we used them all
during Undyne.
Undyne. Ugh.
But alas, after so long, I finally locked in. Okay.
You locked.
I did it. The full fight. There were so many different times where we were like, she would do the first part, I'd do the second part.
Yeah.
We'd go back and forth. I finally did the full fight. Final attack. I lived. I screamed. I didn't scream, but I wanted to.
He went crazy. He went crazy.
I was so happy. I was losing my mind.
And then people were looking back at us thinking we're crazy. Like, oh my gosh. That reminds me of all the times I died because of stupid reasons. Because remember that one time where I kept spamming and then I accidentally pressed spare instead of fight? Oh my. I was so angry. Like, I wanted to break my laptop at that moment. After all these classes.
We finally did it.
And we turned Sans into dust.
Yes. What's really unique about his thing though is just after his final attack, he locks you. You can't move or he'll reset you. So you have to wait until he falls asleep. Then you drag the fight box down to the fight button and fight him. But this time, when he dodges, we swing again. And we strike him down, hit him for max damage. And he falls down to the ground, his body covered in blood or ketchup. And we sit there in victory. And as his final moments approach, he says, I'm going to Grillby's. Papyrus, do you want anything? And he fades away, just like the rest.
And then you can hear the sound effect of him turning into dust. Oh my gosh. No, the moment when he said, Papyrus, you want anything? That hurt me.
I'm going to be honest. I was glad.
It was like,
I was
good
glad.
riddance.
That piece of garbage is dead and you joined him. Oh, I was so happy.
Thing is, throughout classes, we would say death threats to him, and then everyone would think we were crazy. Yes. It's like, I hate you, Sans.
I'm gonna kill your brother again and again and again.
But yes, calming back down, we defeated Sans.
Yes, and finally in our victory lap, we saved and met Asgore. And the funny thing about Asgore is this time, he acts a little different. Instead of fighting us, he wants to talk. He's just like, come on, sit down. We have time for tea.
You coward. He knows how dangerous we are.
But we don't really care, do we? We've come this far. So, as always, we strike him down. But a familiar flower interrupts us, and we watch Asgore fade away. But before we get our LV, Flowey steps in and kills Asgore and steals from us like he's gotten in the way the second time. And so Flowey's just going on and on about, please don't kill me, please. I can be useful. I can be useful. Well, let's just say it was another pile of dust. And so after we end our adventure, we go to the end and cross the barrier. But this time, a strange person meets us, and it's Kara. And they're like, hey, partner. So basically at the end, they're just like, there's nothing left for us here. time to reset and do it again. And they give you the option to say yes or no, reset or not. If you say yes, they hit you with an infinite 99999 damage and your game crashes. It's done.
Yeah.
But if you say no, a funny little dialogue pops up and Kara says, "Since when were you the one in control?" and kills you and breaks your game again.
Zang.
So, yeah, that's Undertale.
It was a wild ride. To summarize what we've said in this podcast, Undertale is an amazing game where you play as a human character stuck underground with monsters. And depending on how you interact with those monsters, you can go to the pacifist route where you become everyone's friend, or the genocide route where you kill everyone.
Or you're a first-time noob, never heard of the game, just downloaded it and do whatever you want. Go down the neutral route.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wild ride, but a fun one. Well, as we wrap things up, make sure, listeners, that you stay determined.
And I'll catch you later, partner.
Thank you so much for listening to this series. And I know it took a long time for me to post them and ended up making 4 whole episodes just for this. But I really do appreciate you guys for bearing with me, and I want to give a special thanks to Zachary for not only coming over to talk on my podcast, but also playing Undertale with me. Well, it seems like our plates have emptied and the content is full. So I would like to thank all of you for tuning in to the Chatter Platter. If you or someone you may know may be interested in listening to more of my content, you can tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and on podcast.com. The Chatter Platter also has an Instagram to keep you in touch. Just search side.platter. And if you would like to come chatter with me or share some episode ideas, feel free to leave a comment, message, or a review, as well as follow to feast on more random stories. I'm Corel Raffol, here to chatter on this platter, and I'll see you next episode.